Little bit of a bonus here and take you on a bit of a tour of Deutschenfeld. As I say, the Deutschenfeld is kind of a composite colony. It didn't actually exist, but this game was built to kind of represent a colony and even its looks. And I wanted to show you some of the detail here in the colony because Laird Salkeld did just such a bang-up job of the work. First of all, here's what a typical street colony looked like. And as you'll see there, the board game that we've made only covers sort of like the north end of the colony. So that's just a little bit of a context for you to see how this worked. The colony itself is typical of many. There's a stream running through it. There's a very large, very large street that runs through it as well, and very wide. And then on both sides of that street, there were these farmsteads or farmyards, if you will. You can call them that too. And the names that you see here on the game board are actual names from the Black Sea. Finkbeiner, Haas, Babitsky, Frank, and then over here, hope I don't make you ill with this switch, Gehring, Klein, Grauer, and Schwab. And so those are just typical names that we chose to put on here. Some of the detail that I want you to look at is quite interesting. But anyhow, let's go in on just one of these farmsteads and point out a few of the things. There was these wells that had these very large handles sticking out of them that were very well known on the steppe. The main house was built with stone. In the initial years, it was built with dirt with thatched roofs. This is a little more advanced, probably typically of what they had. These kind of are maybe these are stone, maybe they are the original earth houses represented here. So there's thatched roofs. The barns were attached to the houses. There's a very large barn. You might have a pig pen there. Over here you had some corn huts that were there for drying. Back here, let me just see what that is. Again, 6. These are the chaff sheds. Number 6 back here, where chaff was put in and also wine was kept. This was a summer kitchen, the number 4. So there was a winter kitchen and a summer kitchen. And in order to keep things a little bit cooler in the summer, it was separated from the rest of the house. And this was also a way to keep fire from spreading through the whole area if there was a lot of things going on here in the summer, like canning and all the rest of it. So that's a typical farmstead, the main buildings. Back here was a threshing circle where crops would be cut and then laid on the ground. And these horses would be pulling a stone wheel that had sort of like sharp blades of stone built, sort of remaining on their surface. If you looked at them, they would kind of look from the side like kind of like a star. Anyhow, they were driven around and around, and then the heads of wheat would come loose, and the seeds would fall through to the ground. And then the chaff was thrown up in the air and gradually moved off, and then the wheat was left. So that was very, very typical. Each farmstead had a stone wall around it that fronted onto the street. In the back, this is not shown too well. There's usually a personal orchard with various kinds of fruit trees and that sort of thing there as well. Just wanted you to look at some of the detail that Laird has put in here as the designer. Here's a woman feeding her chickens. There's some pigs. This varies from one place to the next. You'll also notice some storks. These are stork nests. The storks would hang out on top of these houses, and that was a very common and familiar bird that would build their nests on top of these homes. see if I can find any other detail in here. Horses, of course. The cellar, I don't think I talked about, was partly below ground. You entered through a door and went down underneath into the ground, and that was where you could keep your preserves and your potatoes and your wine, for example, that you didn't sell. And yeah, so those are all the parts of a typical farmstead. And then I think, as I said on another video, then way around here on the outside was where the land would be. Further down here, somewhere in the middle of the village street as it continued south, you would have a church and a school and those sorts of things. So this is just the north end, as I've said. Of course, the cards that Laird has done for the year and family event and colony event cards and harvest are taken from these farm steads and the illustrations. Laird did just a bang-up job of this. He actually used some miniatures and some real models of people that he shot from above and resized them and built this illustration for the colony of Deutschenfeld's game board. So just wanted to take you on a little bit of a tour of that. And if you get a chance to read more about these villages, you'll learn a whole lot more at some of the sources that I list on the back of the instruction manual. So thanks for this little tour of Deutschenfeld.